everyone, Bitmaster here, back at you with another video. In this video, we're going to be writing the same exact thing we've been writing in the past 3 to 4 videos, which is just a server, a TCP server, capable of accepting multiple client socket connections and being able to manage them, and be able to send broadcast messages or binary data or whatever you could wish for just out to everybody that's connected to the server, and also be able to send to a specific client that you select. Um, I find this very useful for people who are going to be doing internet programming, so that's why I'm making these videos. In this tutorial, we're going to be using a different socket library called IPWorks TCP Sockets. So to get going, let's go ahead and let's just start on the client side. So we're going to go to Project, Options. I'm just going to go ahead and add a theme just to make this look a little nicer for the YouTube video. So just give me a second here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and apply some sort of dark theme for this. I'm also going to do the same for the server. So we're going to go to Project Options, and we're just going to apply a dark theme. We'll make it matching for both of them. So here, and the impressive dark theme. Okay, so back on the client, we're going to need us a TCP client from the IPWorks tab. So this is a TCP client, and we're going to rename this socket to client socket. We're then going to grab the caption here and rename this to client, and then we're going to grab a button component and throw it down on the form, and we're also going to grab ourselves an edit component and throw it down on the form. I'll go ahead and kind of make this out to be a little bit nicer looking, match these up a little better, make the buttons caption connect, and we're going to pull this up and make it look a little nicer there. Okay, so now we have a client, and we're ready to start kind of programming the client here. So when you click on the button, obviously you want to make it connect in, so you want to say self.clientsocket.host. .remote host is going to be equivalent to 127.0.0.1 because I'm testing on my local host. Self.clientsocket.port, it'll be remote port actually, will be 3434. And then we're going to make it connect. And that's all there is to it, guys. So whenever the socket does connect, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to say self.edit1.enabled will be false. Self.button1.enabled will be false. The button 1's caption will change to connected to display to the user that the socket has indeed successfully connected. And we're going to also send over our nickname. So we're going to type in self.clientsocket.send, and this has to be bytes. So what we're going to do is we're going to send over a command called newcon with a pipe plus our nickname. Now we have to convert this string to bytes, so we have to go bytes of, and then inside of these parentheses, it'll convert anything inside there to tbyte array and just send it straight over the socket. Okay, so that pretty much does that. Let's go ahead and let's go back and take these lines and copy them. Go back to the socket because we're going to do an onDisconnected event procedure as well. So we're going to paste those, change these to true, because if it disconnects, we want it to say, connect. That way, it gives the appearance that, obviously if the socket's connected, then it says, you're connected, and if it's disconnected, then it says connect, and you can try again. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Let's click on the socket, go to onDataIn. This is whenever the socket receives data from the opposing endpoint, which is the server. So for this, we're going to go to the code, and we're going to start receiving data. So In our particular case, we're using text B, which is bytes, because we're sending bytes back and forth between client and server. So it does have an operation to use straight up string text, which would probably be a lot easier, but I really don't care. This is simple enough as it is. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put self.caption is equivalent to string of, because we're going to reconvert anything from the server back to us back into a string. So we're going to string of text B, which is what the socket receives as text or as t-byte array or t-bytes. We're going to convert that back into a string and throw it on the caption of the form, which is right here where it says client. Okay, the client's done. Literally 5 seconds worth of code. Yay. No other language can do that. Okay, so let's go over to the server side and grab ourselves a list view component. And we're going to just use a regular old list view component. We're going to go to our columns editor. We're going to add 2 columns. We're going to auto size both columns. The first column is going to be IP address, and the second is going to be nickname. And then we're going to make this a little bit better sized. Let's go ahead and drag this over just a hair. Try and line this up just right. So I'm going to hold down Alt. By the way, that's another little secret for you guys. If you ever need to, like ninja precise something right where it needs to go, hold down the Alt key and drag, and it helps you get it right where you need it to be. Now I am going to go to the bottom of this, and we're going to change the view style of this list view to report. That way we can actually see the tabs that we created. You see that? Now we're going to grab an SC list, an SC status. So let's grab ourselves a status bar. We're going to go to Panels Editor, and we're going to add 2 panels. Both are going to be 150 for the width. And the first one is going to have the text of server status. And we're just going to do offline. Just while we're in design time here, you can see that nothing's happening. Obviously, the server's offline. And then for this one, we're going to do connected clients, and we're going to just put like that. So there you have it. No one's connected, obviously. Okay, and this caption, we're going to change the form's caption to server, and that will be that. So let's go ahead and save this project. So we've got kind of the beginning started here. We've got our client already written up and ready to roll, and we've got our server kind of designed. So let's go ahead and grab a TCP server socket off the IPWorks tab and throw it down. We're going to rename that socket to server socket. Okay, so whenever the form actually does load up and create itself in memory, the first thing that happens when the program runs, we want it to start here. We want it to say self.serversocket port, and that's local port, by the way. It's going to be 3434. Self.serversocket listening is true, and then self.sc statusbar1.panel0.text is going to be equivalent to whatever the hell we want, and that's going to be server status and then online. And then we're going to leave that as it is. We also going to need a way to keep up with people, like the actual connections with these sockets. So we're going to create a dictionary to do this. So what we have to do is add generics.collections, because we're going to be using generics to do this. So in the public variables here, actually, since we're just using one form, we'll just go with private. So in the private declarations, this is where you'd put like private like variables and stuff like that. We're going to type client list, and this is going to be a T dictionary. Now, for those of you who don't know what dictionaries are, they have key value pairs. So like, for example, in this dictionary, we're going to have a string, and then we're going to have an integer. And I'll explain this as we go on. But basically, the string is for the person's nickname, and the integer is for the socket ID connector. Like, because these sockets, the way they're written, The IPWorks people wrote these to have like a connection ID. So, like for example, the first person to connect in might be person 0 or 1 or 2 or whatever, you see, and then as more people connect in, that number goes up. Um, Personally, I disagree with the way they did it. I don't personally see myself using these sockets very often for stuff like this because of that reason. I think that it can be done a lot better and is done like a million times better with WebSockets and some other TCP socket libraries that are available for Free Pascal and Delphi. But again, this is just an example on how to do it with these. So either way, that's how we're going to go about it. So we're going to have the nickname of the person, and we're going to have the number that they are connected in as, and we're going to keep up with them in memory so we never lose track of them. It's going to be absolutely perfection. So we've created our client list, but now we have to essentially go down to the form create event procedure where we're going to have to create this client list. So just because we've created a variable for it does not mean that it exists in memory. So we have to create it here. Client list is going to be equivalent to t dictionary string integer dot create. Now it's created in memory, so we can mess around with it and stuff. Okay. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and finish up the GUI just real fast. So we'll grab ourselves a pop-up menu, throw it down on there, and we're going to put the caption property of this to send to all clients, and this is going to be send to selected client only. And we're going to assign that pop-up menu to the list view. So on the list view, assign pop-up menu 1 to the list view. And we're also going to go to position of this application and make it show up in the center of the screen when it runs. And we're going to save, and I'm going to go over here and do the same for the client. So we're going to go to position in the screen center. And there you have it. Okay, great. So at this point, we basically just need to start programming on the server side, because the client, if you remember, we already wrote, it's already completely finished. So when the client connects in, we're going to go over here to the connected event procedure. So whenever we connect in with the client, we're sending newcon and then our nickname. So on the server side, whenever the socket gets like a connection and then receives some data, we're going to have to do some programming here. So we're going to go var sl is a t-string list, li is a t-list item, and then we're going to go sl : t-string list dot create, sl dot delimiter is equal to a pipe character, sl dot strict delimiter is equal to true, and then sl dot delimited text will be equivalent to string of text b. So if SL0 is equivalent to newcon, then begin doing something. So for this, what we actually would like to do here is put a try statement in case of any issues or errors or anything that we might not know about yet. SL.free. And we are going to see what happens. Okay, great. So newcon, we have a command here, newcon. This is going to issue all the code underneath here. We'll add a new user to our lists and also add them to the list view and all this good stuff. So what we'll do is just type in if not client list dot contains key SL1, then begin end, control D. Okay, so inside of this, we'll say client list dot add SL1, and then we're going to go connection ID. Then we're going to create our list item. So list item is equal to self.sc or listview1.items.add, and then we're going to put in li.caption is going to be equivalent to the self.serversocket dot connections, and then we're going to go connection ID dot remote host. That's the remote host's IP address, okay? Then we're going to go li.subitems.add SL1, which is their nickname that they sent over to us, okay? So then what we want to do is update the user count or client count, self.sc statusbar1.panels1.text will be equivalent to clients online. And then we're going to do like this, and then we're going to go int to str self.serversocket.connection count. And then we're going to do add this, and that'll be good to go. Okay, great. So now that we've done that, and we free SL at the bottom of our code so that we free up memory, we're ready to go ahead and proceed to the next bit of code, which is going to be the disconnection event procedure for the server socket. So when someone disconnects, obviously you want to delete them out of RAM, clear up memory, and then you also want to remove them from the list view so that they disappear when they disconnect, right? So to do that, we're going to go into the socket disconnect event procedure, and we're going to start programming. So for this, I usually create a couple of different variables here. So we're going to create two variables. First is going to be nickname, and then the second is going to be a list item. So we can actually lock onto that list item and delete it. It's basically for looping and stuff. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to set nickname to nothing, and then we're going to say for nickname in, and we're going to do a different type of loop. So Delphi kind of thought I was going to do something else there, but I'm not. We're going to do for every single nickname in client list.keys, which is our key dictionary that we created, do begin end. We're going to say if client list nickname equals the connection ID, then break. Okay, so let me put this down below so you guys can see that. We're going to break out of the loop. We're going to come down because now we have a lock on that person. And then we're going to remove them from the list view. So we're going to say for li in self.listview1 items do begin end. Okay, so we're going to say li.delete. Actually, hang on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not using my noodle. We have to actually look for the person that we're going to do this to. So we're going to say if the li.subitems0 is equivalent to that person's nickname, then we're going to begin and end, and we're going to delete them out. So we're going to say li.delete, and then we're going to break out of the loop because we don't want to continue going any further than that. Now we're down below where we're going to finally remove them from our memory out of our client list that we have that we're keeping up with in RAM. So we're going to say if nickname is not nil or nothing, then client list dot remove, and this is removing their nickname and their whole their entire row out of our object list. So we're going to get rid of them, and then we're going to update our status bar with the proper connection stuff, which I'm just going to copy this, guys, because it's like the same exact line of code. So just copy this, paste this, and we're good to go. That's pretty much that. Okay, great. So essentially there's only really two more things to do, and that is broadcast a message out and send a message to only the selected person. So let's go ahead and let's pop over to the pop-up menu here. Pop up to the pop-up menu. Tra-la-la-la-la. Okay, so we're going to send to all clients. So let's go to that code first. And inside of this, we're going to basically broadcast a message to everyone connected to the server. So we're going to need to create a variable here called client pair. That's what we're going to do, because it's going to be a t-pair type, and we're going to put the first part as a string, which is their nickname, and then integer, which is the connected socket ID of the connection that they're connected in with. And remember, like I told you guys, the first person to connect in will be person 1, second will be person 2, third will be person 3, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I think you guys get that. So down below here, we're going to do us a try statement. And inside of this try statement, below after the finally is issued, nothing really needs to be done here. We're not going to do anything there. We're just going to work between the try and the finally. So we're going to say for client pair in the client list, do begin. And inside of these, we're going to put server socket.send, and this is going to be client pair value bytes of whatever we're going to send, and that's actually going to be we'll just say message to all, something like that. Okay, so then that should be good. And I do believe that is it for the broadcast command statement. So let's go ahead and control D that. So this code right here essentially broadcasts a message to everyone. Okay, now we're going to go back, let's save all of this, and let's work on the other one, which is send only to one selected client. So let's double click on that to go to its code, and let's start working on this. So essentially what we'll have to do is, I do not believe that we have to have any variable types here. I think we might be able to just use the dictionary to find what we want. So let's give it a try. First of all, if self.listview1.selected is equal to nil, then exit. This just means if you didn't select somebody, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to completely ignore everything, and you're not going to have anything happen. However, if we do have someone selected, we're going to say if client list.contains key self.sc, let's just type in listview1.selected.subitems 0, then server socket.send, and then we can go client list, and we're going to bracket into that and say self.listview1.selected.subitems 0. And then what we'll have to essentially do is do bytes of, and then message only to you. And that should do it if I typed all this correctly. Let me double check my code here, guys. It's a lot of stuff to mess up if you're not careful. I think I got it, maybe. And that does seem to have done it. So yeah, okay. So we're saying that if we find the person in our list, then we're going to send to that person. Let's try running the code and see if we get any errors. Okay, it looks like everything's okay. So I'm going to allow that through my Windows firewall. So we're listening on port 3434. Okay, so guys, just for shits and gigs, let's give it a go and just see if I missed anything. It may work, it may not work, I don't know. We're going to try it. So let's go back to the client and we're going to run the client. And the client is open. We're going to create a nickname, my Nick or whatever, connect the guy. Okay, looks good. Let's try to send to all. Oh, wow, that works. Okay, let's try to send to only this person. Oh, boy, it works. Okay, great. I do see a slight problem in the graphical interface. Make sure you select the list view, guys, and something you might want to always get into a habit of doing is enabling read-only and row select. That way it looks a lot nicer when you run the program. So I'm going to run this again, and we're going to give it a final test, okay, guys? So there it is. Let's grab this person and let's run another one just to see if it works with a couple, just real quick. So let's just do person 1 and person 2, and then I'll just connect both of them out of order, doesn't matter. There's 2 people online. If I click on person 1 or person 2 to select and then send only to that client, then person 2 receives message only to you. And if I click on person 1 and right click and do only to that client, then only he received the message. And if I right click and send to everyone, then it works on both. If person 2 goes away, person 2 goes away. If person 1 goes away, they go away. Beautiful. And there you have it, guys. That's all there is to it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will be making many more videos like this in the future, so stay tuned. And if you guys have any requests, if you guys would like to know how to stream images, files, all sorts of other types of stuff over socket connections, let me know and I'll make you a tutorial video. Until next time, guys, peace out.